Hello and welcome to UK Versus. Today I'm going to talk about the Critical Role Heroes of Exandria characters I expect to be played at the Denver Regional. This doesn't mean that they will be top, this does not mean that they will do well, but these are characters that I think people have been working on long enough or have such great utility that the new and shiny mentality that a few players have, as well as exploring the meta and how these characters are able to handle the meta, will allow them to kind of shine as the first examples of characters for Critical Role Heroes of Exandria. Starting off with the obvious pick, it had a great showing at the Ace Arena. It's the character that most people have been talking about, and it's the character a lot is the simplest and easiest to use, so therefore is the easiest to get a hold of early and kind of master is Grog Strongjaw, Mighty Half Giant, a brawler, brute, Vox Machina, Death, Earth, Fire, 5 hand size, 31 health, with a static ability. If an attack deals damage, add a rage counter to this card. Response: before you would take damage from an unblocked attack, reduce its damage by 2, a minimum of 1, so you can always get those rage counters. And enhance: remove a rage counter from this card, draw 1 card, and your attack gets +3. So you don't need to be playing your turn to get the draw effect. And this is a very powerful card. Grog Strongjaw will have a showing and is a great counter to a lot of the characters we've been seeing, such as Pony, which has been the bane of the meta for a while. Although it didn't win Worlds, it's still a character people have to be aware of. And these very early high aggression decks that want to throw lots of attacks at you, but for printed damage, Grog just kind of sits there and laughs and gets to build up the counters that he's then eventually going to use to kill you. Grog is very powerful with access to things like the Time Stone Knuckles, which give him deflect free on face. The deflect and damage reduction is Grog's bread and butter, allowing him to take minimalistic damage and turning that into massive damage on all of his attacks. And I think that is kind of where we're going to see Grog go. Do I think he'll top? Possibly. But I think the higher up the chain you go, the more you will find players who are prepared to handle Grog. But at the same time, if one high rolls high enough, it's very hard to stop Grog once he gets those tokens going. Grog is one I expect to see quite a lot of at Denver, along with Alora Vorson, Arcanist of Taldore. This is a 28 health, 6 hand size Chaos Life Void mage with twice per turn. Remove 1 action from your card pool, add the top card of your deck to your momentum, and commit 1 foundation. After an attack is played, seal it, and your next check to play a card gets +3. This is an absolute solid defensive character. With its symbols, gets to play a lot of very good actions. Gets to play a lot of very good actions. Gets rewarded for having actions in the card pool, and on Void, Life, and Chaos, there's some very strong actions. He gets turning those actions into momentum, feeding your broken psyches, your decoy duplicates, feeding your echo abilities, and also feeding your spells, your spells, EXs, and powerfuls. Very strong card. And then, of course, being able to seal any card that has been, any attack that's been played, allows you to turn off your opponent's strongest piece, turn off any kind of negative effects that your attacks may have to kind of balance them out, or just saying, I'm going to make this blank. My next check to play a card gets +3. Are you that worried about this card when my next one is going to be so much tougher? And especially with the check hacking abilities of Chaos, we could see this pop off a little bit more with things like Blue Flame Torment going, my next one's getting +3. I can get that to potentially +5 to my next check to play an attack. That's absolutely nuts. The downside, mainly for Alora, is I think she takes a bit longer to get to regionals level than 2 weeks. Luckily, thanks to things like Tabletop Simulator and the cards being revealed relatively quickly, people will have had more than the 2 weeks to play Alora, but maybe not had the 2 weeks to secure all the cards needed for Alora. Next one is a controversial one as of our tier list that we did for the URs and SRs. Beauregard Lionette Expositor. I think this will see play. 29 health, 6 hand size, that has commit foundation. Your kick, punch, or slam attack is +1 damage for each attack in your card pool, meaning that you're always pumping your attack up. And once per turn, discard an attack, check a 6, add the top 2 cards of your deck to your card pool face down. They come in as mid attacks with 3 speed, 3 damage, and the punch, kick, and slam keywords. Add them to the attack stack, which means after this attack resolves, you'll get 2 more attacks to pop off. This is just absolutely solid. Having access to 2 attacks when you have at least 2 attacks in hand, very strong. You do have that 6 hand size problem, but going off the symbols here, not that much of an issue. And if you look at the amount of draw power that is available on these symbols, as well as if you take into account cards like Wish Hard, when it's discarded, you get to draw another card. You turn that discard attack into draw a card, and then check a 6. There's more than enough 6 checks going around, and even if I have to commit 1 foundation to play 2 more attacks essentially for free, I'm fine with that. With the water symbol and access to Mina 3 and the Mina support from last year as well, you're going to pop off a little bit more. There's a lot of cards that can ignore face downs in your card pool. There are lots of cards like Acid Screen, which you get to ignore those face downs as well. Although they're not a punch, kick, or slam, they're still quite powerful. It's one of those really interesting things. And with the UR that she has, cards like Breakdancing get very powerful. I think this is definitely a sleeper. It's a very cool monk card. I think she is a lot better than people are giving her credit for. She has damage on face for committing foundations, and then the symbols that she has allow her to blow them up to get even more effects. And with the Earth symbol having access to lots of unflip and kind of renewing card abilities, the cards that you get face down and build in with the UR can be unflipped, can become very powerful, and the fire symbol is on the up, and I think she is just going to get more impactful with time. And yeah, Beauregard is a sleeper, and again, because of how simplistic her abilities are, she doesn't take the longest to learn, but would possibly be the longest to master. I can see Beauregard topping in the future, but for Denver, possibly not. Isik and Caleb are very powerful characters. I just don't think there has been enough time for Isik and Caleb to be as powerful in the meta as they need to be. You need a lot of specific cards. You need to get a hold of those cards, where a lot of people are still holding on to stuff. I would love to see these guys get a lot of play and a lot of love, especially Isik. Isik has been under fire as not being a very good character when Isik is absolutely nuts. And I'd love to see him take down a regional, never mind just top. But I think they take a little bit longer to master and a very long time to learn the interactions properly. So may not see play for a while. Tyrion Darrington, there's always going to be asset lovers. Tyrion Darrington will see play, but I'm not a believer in Tyrion Darrington. I think he's not going to be as good as people think he is. I don't think that you are getting the utility you think you are from him. And I think that he is a bit of a honey trap. He's a good looking card with good looking abilities that makes you think that he's going to get there because he's got this high health total. But I don't think currently he's strong enough to get there based on how the cards and the stuff we have available. I don't see it. I'm glad to be wrong, but I don't see it. Moving back rounds, we kind of got done a dip from most playable to most unlikely to be played. and now we're kind of around. Percival DeRollo, Vengeful Sharpshooter. This is one that will see play. Science Bro wants to see play. The Void symbol gets to pop off with Percy with combined firepower. You get the casino aspects through death. You get access to a lot of remove matters from play, from air. I think that this is going to be solid, and that fact you can lose life to make your attacks harder to stop, as well as removing tech cards to make them harder. I think that's just the biggest downfall of this character, is you need to remove a tech card to get the speed, but you're very limited to tech cards. And although there is a fair amount, if it had been the other way around, if it was like remove a ranged card, your ranged or tech gets plus X speed, infinitely better. But with the tech cards we have, I definitely see him getting played, and he's one that's going to get more powerful over time. And maybe I just need to do some more research into tech cards from previous sets. But I definitely expect to see Percival played. It's the one that most people have been kind of hyped for. And now that we've had that errata to know it's on play, this is going to be very cool. The last one I want to talk about, and the one that people are probably going, how has he not mentioned this one yet? Vaxeldan. I know people expect me to talk about Yasha. I love Yasha. I don't expect to see Yasha getting played anytime soon. Takes a little bit longer to master Yasha. I expect that she'll come around May time. I don't expect it to drop 2 weeks after. She takes a little bit more mastery to get a hold of. But Vaxeldan, just going, all my blocks ignore progressive. So I'm going to just be able to keep blocking, as well as adding additional speed reduction from the Death and Void symbols. Void is very controlling. And then just going, oh, my attack is going to get X damage. X damage for each kind of catapult on top of the combined firepowers. All these cards that are ignoring progressive. Just similar to the block. If I go, cool, I'll incubating -1 speed, respond combined firepower, block combined firepower. Now I get a free -1 speed on face because combined firepower doesn't count towards progressive. On top of being able to block with other combined firepowers, making this work. He is so easy to build at this point. I think just the fact is people might get too drawn in from the weapon aspect, and that second response, trying to make sure that you can get your Ravel to discard a card and draw a card, and you can draw a card, that you may not quite get there. You might get too drawn in with the dagger kind of stuff. I think that top enhance enough alone is enough to push him into scene play at Denver. But it's not like there aren't decent weapons on these symbols, especially Death having access to all of Toga's kits, all of the Attack on Titan kits. I'm expecting Vaxeldan not only to be represented at Denver, but I expect him to top. This is a strong character that with great survivability, damage on face, defense on face, and access to one of the strongest keywords weapons that is going to be able to just pop off. Playing things like Deception Dagger in here is going to be very powerful. Having access to all these weapons that he can just pop off with on death is going to be very cool. And the fact that you get to just play combined firepower, get additional damage for having it on additional speed reduction that doesn't count towards progressive. You have great defensive abilities on face and utility, and you have great offensive ability and face. So these are the characters I've identified as what I expect to see at Denver. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Is there any characters that I'm just obviously overlooking? Are there any characters that you think will do a lot better, or have I misjudged how easy it is to master and learn these characters? But I think Vaxeldan will be represented and do the best. I think Grog will be the most represented out of all the Heroes of Exandria cards. And I think, if we see any E6 or Caleb's, they may not do as well as future versions, either through not having access to cards yet or just not knowing the matchups yet. Again, do you agree? Do you disagree? If you've got any other opinions, I welcome them. I would love to have a chat in the comments about them. But let me know in the comments below. Please do like and subscribe. We're getting very close to hitting that 500 subscriber number, which is what I'm kind of gearing for this year. And I'll catch you all in the next one. Bye.